Hey guys, this is Mike Tarallo with Qlik. Welcome to the next episode of Do More with Qlik, where I'm going to show you how to create a replication job from YouTube analytics data using Qlik Talend Data Integration. I know I'm going off the rails a little bit, right? You're used to me always working in the analytics side, but today we're going to navigate to the data integration side, and I'm going to actually start out creating what's called a pipeline project. As I start to develop applications, we have an initiative to create some analytics across the entire platform of all of our video assets. So I figured this would be a good way to show you how to set that up for YouTube Analytics and then eventually break it into other sources that I'm going to be using. So as I come across these things, it's always great that I can show you how they're done, so that way it makes your life a little bit easier. So within Pipeline Projects, I'm going to click Create a Project. And this is going to be a replication project. And we're going to give it a name, and we're going to call it Qlik YouTube Analytics. And I'm going to select the data project space that I called YouTube Analytics and just click Create. Here we're going to click Replicate Data, and we're going to give the task a name, and I'm just going to call it Qlik YouTube Analytics. By default, whatever you type in here is basically going to be used as the schema name for your target. Okay, now we don't have any connections set up, so I'm going to click Create Connection. Search for YouTube and select this. Now you'll notice that you have some inputs here. We don't have to worry about gateway, but we have a start date here. We're just going to choose probably like from the beginning of the year, and it will default the day back. So in this case, December 31st. Channel ID. The channel ID is basically the ID from your YouTube channel. And then client ID and client secret. This has to be given to you by your team. So if you have access to the Google Cloud APIs environment and you can set up a web client and OAuth, you can get all this information. But let me show you exactly what I'm using here. So here I have a client ID for web application already set up. So you can see this has been set up already. I've done this under my account that has access to the Qlik YouTube channel. And you can see I also have access to the OAuth 2.0 playground in Google Developers. I don't know why they call it the playground, because this is where we have to set the scopes for the API and where we grab our refresh token. So that being said, I have my client ID and my secret already. So if I go into OAuth 2.0 configuration, I leave all of these settings by default. Please note I also have my redirect URI set up already. I select use your own credentials, and I choose my client ID and my secret. So this is automatically populated for me. Next, I'm going to look for the APIs. So the YouTube Analytics connector in Qlik Talend Data Integration actually uses the YouTube Data API. You would actually think it used the Analytics API because of the name of the connector, but it actually uses the Data API. So all we really need to authorize is this Google API's YouTube Read Only scope, and then we click Authorize APIs. Then we choose the account that I have access to. Since this is just a test application and it hasn't been verified, we're just going to go to the YouTube Analytics to grab the refresh token. I'm going to click Continue. And then here you'll see Exchange Authorization Code for Tokens. And there's a little bug in Google's interface. See, it just collapses. You got to open it up again. And then we grab the refresh token. So we copy that refresh token, and then we're going to paste that in here. And then I just have to put in my client ID and my client secret. And there we go. And we're just going to leave the name of the connector YouTube Analytics. So now we click Create. So this takes less than a minute to basically do the verification and validation. But once this is done, we'll be able to then see all of the data objects available from the YouTube data connector. Okay, so now we have our connection. We can click Next. Here's our data set name. We're going to use the percentage just as a wildcard. Click Search, and now you're going to see all of the different data objects available. So at this point, it just becomes, selecting the appropriate data objects to create data sets that you can then use in your replication flow. I'm just going to choose videos just to keep it simple. I'm going to add that selected data set, click Next, and then we have a target. Now I already set up the target. That is, again, fairly simple. You're just setting up your connection to your host and your database and all that other stuff. Here I have a SQL target in Azure on the cloud. Okay, target database schema, replication schedule. If you leave these blank, it's going to basically just use the default names. So in this case, we can give it a full name if we want. So we'll just call it Qlik YouTube Analytics. And it'll replicate the data every 6 hours. Click Next. After the pipeline is created, we're going to open the actual data task and click Create. Keep in mind, when you set up scopes and set those up within the connector with the refresh token, every time you change your scope, you have to generate a new refresh token and update the connector. And then when you update the connector, it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes before it reflects in the cloud, because it's not immediate. When you change that scope and you refresh, if you're still getting errors after making a change to the scope, it's probably because it hasn't updated yet. So keep that in mind. That's why it's good to make sure everything is set up the right way the first time. All right, so now we're in our task, and you can see ready to prepare. Now I have a separate SQL client called dbeaver. I love this tool. Basically, it allows me access to all of my schemas. So we're going to come back into this, but what I want to show you is I'm going to click Prepare now and confirm. And now we're going to look at the log, and this is a real-time log that's going to, basically what it's doing is it's creating the schema and the structure for the table within my target. So here you can see creating artifacts. This takes less than a minute, most likely. Sampling from table videos, rows 18. And this is valid because I just published the video today within our channel. Earlier it was 17, now it's 18. Okay, finish prepare successfully. So if we go back into dbeaver, and what I'm going to do is just refresh my database, and you can see we now have Qlik YouTube Analytics, and we have our video table. Now if I view the data, we have nothing in there yet. Okay, now we have to load it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click Run. And now this switches from a design view to a monitoring view, and then you'll be able to see the various statistics or metrics for the data load. And then again, this takes a few minutes before you start actually seeing some activity. And you can navigate through the different tabs here to see the activities that are occurring. And you can see that it's currently running. Okay, and it just finished. You can see inserts and updates, 18. And now we can resume it if we wanted to, but we have this scheduled to run every 6 hours. So now if I go back to dbeaver and we do a view data, so we have our 18 rows, our video IDs, published statistics, etc. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. It's just part one of a broader exercise of combining data within a data store or data mart that's going to be used for analytics or AI initiatives, but it does give you a little bit of a feel of how that replication job can be done to grab data directly, in this case from YouTube Analytics, and put it into a target database that you can use for your own analysis. Okay, I'm going to be working on some more videos along with Discovery Agent, MCP, and Qlik Answers. This is more of a one-off that I just created as I was working on an initiative and wanted to share with you all. Alrighty, so I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please post them where I post this video, and I'd be happy to answer and accommodate. Alrighty guys, take care.